So I'm going to welcome here on the Explains Lounge Anthony Rowell from Tradeprint. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, nice to be here. Thanks very much, Jack, for the invite. Always good to be at the show, and it looks quite a lively place to be. I'm responsible for sales, customer success, and I'm also the sustainability lead at Tradeprint. We're a Simpress business, and we're based up in Dundee, Scotland.
So sales and customer success, what does that mean specifically?
So we have, for all we're an online business, we have an outbound sales team who work on customer retention and direct sales, so looking for opportunities and growth from new business. We've got Graham Webster, who leads the charge on new business development, and a really good team around him. And then I also take responsibility for service. So if anything goes wrong, which undoubtedly it will do in manufacturing, that's my fault ultimately. So I need to, my team are really attentive, really good at putting things right when they go wrong. But they're also really good at supporting customers and requirements and needs through we call it customer success.
Yeah. Okay, so there's managing that relationship well. So, okay. So, can you tell us a little bit more about Trade? You talk about how you support resellers, manufacturers, customers. So tell us a little bit about the company.
So our biggest group of customers are print resellers traditionally. So that could be graphic designers, printing businesses, signage businesses, people with kit, people without kit, print managers, those kind of people. Anybody that's got a requirement to resell printing. In terms of Tradeprint, we operate across multiple categories. So our biggest category is small format, and by that we mean sheet-fed, digital litho, booklets, brochures, leaflets, flyers, business cards, stationery, so posters. So small format really refers to stuff that's square, essentially, or rectangular. And then we've invested heavily in large format. So last 3 years ago, we took on the business from Tradeprint when it failed. We employed all the staff, and over the course of the last couple of years, we've moved them all into Dundee. So we've got large format, HP latex devices, predominantly up to 3.2 meters, I think, 3.6 maybe. And then we've also branched into dye sublimation. So we've got an Epsom for that, and some really cool mug lines who do 5,000 plus mugs a day. Or we've certainly got capacity to do that. And yeah, a wealth of signage, display, exhibition stand stuff, and yeah, it's a huge catalogue.
Do you find your customers are sort of crossing over from the small format to the large format, or is it kind of a new setup?
Well, I think there's an opportunity for, certainly in the large format sector, to sell more small format, and because we've got such a large catalogue of products, they're complementary products to the products that our customers normally acquire. So we can help with e-commerce stores, for instance. So printers can have an online presence and use our API and plug into the back of our manufacturing. So we do a white label service, and I think there's definitely that opportunity for small format customers to also order signage. And you don't want to say no, because if you say no, the customer goes somewhere else. They might have a great experience. They might start buying other products from the other supplier.
We talked a bit about this on the IPIA panel yesterday, about sort of looking after the brand, your customer's brand, so your customer's brand.
Yeah.
And I guess the service you provide, so you allow them to do more than just that sort of format or one thing. You can help do a much broader range of applications.
Yeah, it's about that, and we've really focused on core products. There's lots of them, mind, but we optimise the processes so that we can be competitive in the pricing piece for the customer.
Now, the other part of your world you said was sustainability. I think that's an important part. Can you tell us what that means with the Tradeprint world?
Well, I'm pretty passionate about that. So I'm more Greta Thunberg than anything else. So I'm big on sustainability. It's been with me for a long time. I used to work at Tradeprint, probably 15, 20 years ago almost, and that gave me some inspiration for the journey that we've been on at Tradeprint. But there's more demand, for products that are more sustainable. And there's certainly, and it's just the right thing to do. You know, I want to play a part. It's proper legacy stuff for me. I want to leave a legacy where I've had a defined impact on reducing the environmental footprint of the business. And I think customers appreciate it. At the end of the day, we're producing waste on their behalf, where they're scope 3 emissions. So if we don't take it seriously, when more legislation comes in, it's going to be harder for the customer to make those right decisions. And I'd like to think that we've been leading the way with that, and certainly raising the flag.
And so you're saying it's your passion. Is it something that you came into the company to do, or were you in the company and said, right, I'm going to get hold of this?
Well, that's a great question. I arrived assuming that we hadn't done anything. But when I started, the first thing I did was a gates grave waste analysis. So I looked at all of our waste streams, and I actually realised that we were very efficient. And that was driven more by process than environmental ambition. But also, years ago, when we first installed our first long convector, the guys had built a heat exchanger. So they took the spare heat and pumped it in the factory. It can be quite cold in the winter in Scotland. And they did that basically about money saving. And I think this is a really good point. You know, people assume sustainability costs more to offer those products, offer those services, but actually you've got a handle on your waste, so you reduce your waste, you focus on that, and actually you can sell a lot of your waste, and that makes you more efficient, allows you to be competitive. And also it's good for energy. You want to reduce your energy bills, so you want to focus on maybe measuring the output of each device. If you've ever walked into a factory on a Sunday, you'll hear compressors going, even if they're not working. So we've developed a system of red, amber, green. So red means you can't switch it off, it's never switched off. Amber, you've got to ask somebody if you can switch it off. And green, you switch it off when you're finished with it. A really simple system. But the impact, not only on the shop floor, but upstairs in the offices is also a good thing. It's tangible, and you can see a carbon saving and an energy saving, which is important in these climates.
Yeah. So now I know that it's back a few years now. You talked about acquiring Tradeprint, and I think what you did there was a sustainability project in itself. And it's not just about products; it's about people as well.
Yeah. Every time I used to talk about this, I used to get a little bit emotional. Right. Well, it was just one of those days where they'd gone into liquidation. And that was a very responsible thing for their management team to do. They didn't want a Phoenix, and we admired that. We used them as a supplier for a while because geographically they were just around the corner. But to invite them all into the boardroom the day after, or 2 or 3 days after they'd failed, and be able to offer all of those people jobs was just a brilliant day. You know, it's like a career-defining moment where you do that. We felt really good about it. And we've got over a 90% retention rate for those staff, so 2-3 years later. And all of the business transfers, apart from maybe 5%. So we were really successful in the sales piece. But then the big challenge was for ops and operations of brought in the devices that we had previously. We've reinvested it in more kit. And that's turned out to be a really good thing for us.
I mean, we talked a little bit with sustainability. You mentioned it's not all about, it's not more expensive necessarily, but you are running a business, you need to make a profit. There must be points where you're fighting against doing initiatives that could be positive. Now, how do you deal with that internally?
Well, we're part of a big group. So one of the things we have to do is create a case, CapEx, for the justification to make that investment. So last year, we produced a case for solar on the roof, and there's that's a 3-hour conversation in its own right, and we're just looking to see if we can justify that investment. We'd love to have some. There's kit you can put on every folder of every print machine that measures the output and the electricity. That allows you to pinpoint areas rather than just sticking a sticker on it. It allows you to pinpoint areas where you can reduce energy usage. So that's another investment. We have to create a case for that. So it's about looking for the benefit. But things like product. So we have Gaz, who is our product owner for large format. Gaz is steadily and slowly working through our PVC products with a view to getting rid of PVC. We see that as a problematic plastic. So we want to completely get rid of PVC in the business. And that obviously impacts large format in a big way.
Would that not necessarily lose your customer? Would there be people that you just wouldn't be able to sell to?
Well, that's certainly a risk. And to mitigate that risk, we've chosen a product, banners. We've already been producing PVC for free banners for a couple of years, but only small scale, and there's a price difference. And this is why we've taken so long to deploy PVC for free. So we've identified a new material through a global tender that we took part in, Project Hulk, because it's big and it's green. And there were several things about sustainability in that tender on top of the PVC free. So can the supplier give us a life cycle analysis tool within 12 months of giving us the material? So we only engaged with proactive things, forward-thinking suppliers who were thinking about those things. So we didn't just consider the footprint of the material now. We also consider the waste, how you dispose of it, what the environmental cost is of disposal. And that tenders come back. And because of the volume and because we can leverage our global presence, we've been able to get a better price than our standard PVC banners. So there's no pain for the customer. And actually, it's slightly lighter. It's 400 gram rather than 440. So it folds easier. It's easier to handle in the factory. It's printed with latex inks, water-based inks on HP. And obviously there's a shipping cost saving because it's a bit lighter. But the tensile strength's comparable, if not better. And actually it's a brighter material. And it's monomeric. I can't ever say that. It's probably that one bit of material. So it's easier to recycle.
That's really, so the customer coming to you probably comes with a preconceived idea that if you're trying to sell me a sustainable product, that's going to cost me more. You just sort of listed out, is that a common thing? Does that happen?
We have to do that so that we don't risk revenue. So we want to mitigate any chance that the customer's going to think they're getting inferior. They made the right decision, but they don't want to get inferior.
Do they come with that belief and actually you're sort of turning them out quite quickly to say, it's better, cheaper, more effective?
Yeah, it's difficult to convey that just on a website or on an email. Yeah. So that's why we've got a big team of customer success advisors who know the products. And obviously my sales team, I'm really proud of how much engagement they have across a large customer base.
I guess because you're a trade supplier, obviously, so people you're talking to then have to go and talk to their customers. So you've kind of got to help them with that.
Yeah, so you've got to make the message really simple and straightforward. But there's we're an open website, so providing you can provide artwork, you can come and place an order. But you're right, the print professionals, the print resellers are the guys that need the support for reselling. But we've made that PVC free message, and we're not quite launched yet. We would have been launched last week, but I had a few roadblocks. And we've took our time to get it right. But we're also using only polycarbonate grommets on the PVC free products because that aids recycling the same. So not that the metal grommets are difficult because you use a magnet to extract them out of the waste stream, but having one common material and I'll not go into the details of temperature and and how you reclaim the materials, but we've made a very sustainable product, we believe. The next thing we need to do is put pressure on the government so that there's more places to recycle such products where there's a distinct lack of that further than anything.
That's a statement like that. How do you do that? How do you put pressure on government to pay attention to something like this? Well,
there's lots of industry groups. The BSGA, you've renamed, so I have to keep checking. The British Signage Graphics Association, I'm involved with FESPA, but predominantly the BPIF and the IPIA provide us with a platform to talk to the government. So we have direct input to the Department for Trade and Industry, and we put pressure on them, and we get them to return, reverse decisions that are good for the industry, and they listen. And there's a wealth of interested parties that want to help the industry grow.
This is a classic situation of asking for an inch, getting it, and then keep pushing. You've got to keep pushing. It's a great big thing.
Yeah.
You've got the tenacity to do it.
Well, I'm fairly straightforward. I don't like a complicated argument. I'd rather have a straightforward argument. But, intellectually, I might not be the greatest, but we've got some really clever people within the BPIF, IPIA, and all the signage and graphics associations that can really help facilitate change and strong argument.
Well, my last question is about what comes next for the business, and you kind of explained a lot of that, but it's sort of maybe on a wider level. Where's Tradeprint going for the coming years?
Well, it would be really crazy if I didn't mention AI. So we've got a few projects in flight for AI. We're looking at AI for process improvement, but specifically in terms of customer facing stuff, I want to extend the hours we've got coverage for our service team so that they can respond to customer queries outside normal working hours. And one of the best ways to do that is to look at embellishing our AI offering in the chatbot. Bella, we call her. Bella's a little bit sleepy at the minute, so she doesn't really answer the questions very good. So we've got a lot of work to do with generative AI to build a knowledge base for her so she can go and dip into it and bring those answers to the fore.
And it works with standard questions, but as soon as you start sort of getting that's the challenge.
Well, with the model that we're looking at, they can detect sentiment. So if the customer is upset, even in text, they'll get a sense of the sentiment and they'll immediately transfer it to an agent, or they'll ask for a ticket so we can respond to that when we're back at work. But I've made this very clear with my team and with our leadership team that we're doing this to help us scale. We're not doing this to replace jobs. I want Bella to sit next to all of our agents and supercharge their life, their work experience. So it'll help them create content that they can send to the customer once they've edited it. And it'll also support them when they need to find information. We're pretty complex as a business. And the guys have got lots of different places to look for information when the customer comes with a query. So having AI just supercharges that experience, takes out the mundane and repetitive tasks.
Yeah, but I mean, what's the process of developing that? Is it a techie programming thing, or is it about understanding the business and the potential questions?
Well,
using AI to develop it.
Yeah, we've got a really good knowledge base, and we've got a blog site where we've written lots of blogs about file supply, products, specific stuff around the products and services we offer. So that's a good start. But then we've got almost 10 years worth of customer queries that we've had through Zendesk, and now we're on HubSpot. So we've got this huge amount of data that we can interrogate for the common questions, and the AI model will be able to pick that up and interpret that and help us serve. On a Sunday afternoon when you're placing your banner orders because you're late for a trade show, then you'll be able to benefit from the expertise of the business.
That sounds really exciting. I'm looking forward to that developing, hearing more.
Yeah, brilliant.
Thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, thanks again, Jack.
Terrible.
Yeah, lovely. Cheers. Thank you.